arrives on a crisp October morning. Clara and I had waited for years for this. The adoption process was grueling, but we finally had a daughter. The moment they brought her out to us, holding her stuffed rabbit in one hand, her little curls bouncing as she walked, I thought my heart might burst. Her eyes were impossibly large, dark pools that seemed to take in everything around her. She was quiet, almost unnervingly so, but when I knelt down to say hello, she tilted her head, studying me with a calm that seemed out of place for a 3-year-old. "You feel warm," she said softly. Clara laughed, brushing it off as precociousness, and I smiled along with her, though something about the way Lily said it lingered in my chest. I couldn't explain it then, but looking back now, I think I knew. From the very beginning, I think I knew. We adopted her through an agency called Bright Horizons. They were small, local, but highly recommended. Everything about the process felt smooth, easy, almost too easy. At the time, we were just grateful to finally have a child. I didn't stop to question why an agency with so few children available had practically handed her to us. For 3 years, everything was perfect. Or, at least, it seemed that way. Lily adjusted quickly. Too quickly, in hindsight. She never cried, never threw tantrums, never even seemed scared of anything. She was polite, precocious, and sweet, almost unnaturally so. She called Clara Mama and me Daddy almost immediately, as though the life she had before us didn't exist. She loved bedtime stories, peanut butter sandwiches with the crusts cut off, and splashing in the backyard sprinkler. If there was ever a perfect child, Lily was it. But perfection can be deceiving. It started with little things. The way she tilted her head as though listening to someone who wasn't there. The way she always seemed to know I was upset, even if I didn't say a word. And then there were her drawings. She loved to draw, and at first, we were proud parents, hanging her pictures on the fridge. But over time, her art grew darker. Strange patterns emerged, spirals, jagged lines, and circles that almost looked like ancient symbols. Then came the people. She drew figures with 2 long arms, faces without eyes, and mouths filled with sharp, uneven teeth. "It's just her imagination," Clara said whenever I pointed it out. "Kids draw weird things sometimes." I wanted to believe her. I really did. Lily began mentioning her real mom shortly after her 6th birthday. At first, it seemed harmless. "My real mom used to braid my hair," she said one morning while Clara was brushing out her curls. Clara froze. "Sweetie, I'm your mom," she said, her voice gentle but firm. Lily didn't argue. She just tilted her head and smiled. "Not you, Mama. My other mom." The comments grew more frequent. At dinner one evening, she looked at me and said, "My real mom doesn't like you, Daddy." I nearly choked on my food. Clara laughed nervously, brushing it off as just something kids say. But Lily didn't laugh. She just stared at me, her wide, dark eyes unblinking. "She says you're too loud," she added, then went back to eating as if nothing had happened. Clara insisted it was just a phase. "She's 6, Aaron. Kids have imaginary friends. She's probably trying to process being adopted. But imaginary friends don't whisper in the dark." We kept a baby monitor in Lily's room even though she was 6. Clara said it made her feel safer knowing we'd hear her if she woke up with nightmares. The first time I heard the voice, I was alone. Clara was working late, and I was half asleep on the couch when the monitor crackled to life. At first, I thought it was static. But then I heard it, a low, rasping whisper. "She's mine." I froze, staring at the monitor. Lily was asleep in her bed, her tiny chest rising and falling peacefully. "You don't belong here," the voice hissed. I ran upstairs, throwing open her door. The room was silent, except for Lily's soft breathing. She was clutching her stuffed rabbit, her curls splayed across the pillow. Everything looked normal. The next morning, as she ate her cereal, she looked up at me and said, "Mommy said you were scared last night." "Who?" I asked, my voice barely steady. "My real mom," she said, smiling as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. The nightmares began not long after that. Every night, I was back in the same place, a burning house. Flames roared around me, so bright and hot that I could barely breathe. The walls groaned and cracked, the air thick with smoke and the stench of charred wood. I could hear screaming, dozens of voices crying out in pain and terror, but I couldn't see anyone. In every dream, I tried to run, but I was frozen in place. And always, there was laughter. A woman's laughter, deep and guttural, echoing through the flames. One night, I woke to find Lily standing at the foot of my bed. "She's mad at you," she said, her voice soft but devoid of any emotion. "Lily, go back to bed," I stammered. "She says you can't keep me," she continued. "She says I'm hers." That was the night I started digging into Lily's adoption. Bright Horizons had burned down 5 years ago, 2 years after we brought Lily home. The fire had destroyed everything: records, staff, the building itself. The official cause was ruled an accident, but there were whispers, rumors about symbols found in the ashes. Symbols like the ones Lily had drawn on her walls. I tracked down other families who had adopted through the agency. Most of them were dead. Car crashes. House fires. One couple vanished entirely, leaving behind a house full of strange, burnt markings. The ones who were still alive refused to talk to me. One mother broke down sobbing when I mentioned Bright Horizons. "Get rid of her," she whispered before hanging up. It happened 3 nights ago. I woke to the sound of Lily giggling. When I went to her room, the heat hit me before I even opened the door. Her room was on fire. But it wasn't like a normal fire. The walls were blackened, pulsating with heat, and the air shimmered with a suffocating brightness. In the center of it all, Lily sat cross-legged on her bed, staring at the shadow on the wall. It was larger now, more defined. Its face twisted and shifted, burning eyes and a jagged grin that filled the room with a low, guttural laugh. "Lily!" I screamed. "Come here." She turned to me, smiling that eerie, two-eyed smile. "She says it's time to go," she said. "No!" I shouted, stepping into the room despite the heat. My skin felt like it was blistering, but I didn't care. "You're not going anywhere." The shadow shifted, and for the first time, it spoke directly to me. "You should have left her," it said, its voice rumbling like an earthquake. "Now you'll burn." The flames surged toward me, and I grabbed Lily, yanking her off the bed. She screamed, not in fear, but in anger, her small fists pounding against my chest. "She's mine," she shrieked. I ran. The fire followed, licking at my heels, the laughter ringing in my ears. I don't remember how I got out. I woke up in the hospital 2 days later, my skin blistered and raw, my lungs scorched from the smoke. Clara was sitting beside me, her face pale and drawn. "Lily is gone." The fire department said it was an accident, but I know better. The house is nothing but ashes now, and somewhere in those ashes is the thing that came to take her back. But she's not dead. I hear her at night, whispering from the shadows. "Daddy," she says, her voice soft and sweet. "She's not mad at you anymore. She just wants you to come home."